Silence. Silencio. Por favor. Ugh. That's what I have to say. Ugh. Oh, man. I am, I'm feeling it, guys. And not in a good way. I woke up with a little bit of a headache. Before we get into it, I saw that Jeremiah had thrown money at me, so I'll answer that question real quick. He said, Fatal Fury is a new game. It says a new game in a long time. I think he means newest installment in a long time. It's come out, and are you playing Clair Obscur? I am playing Clair Obscur piecemeal. I've only played a few hours of it so far. I don't want to rush it. I don't want to waste my time with it. I want to eat it little bit by little bit. I have no desire to rush it at all. Ironically, the song that was playing before we got started was Rushing from the Marathon soundtrack. For those of you who are members, you will notice that there's another video up for you guys that I just finished. Well, I finished it 2 days ago, but the footage that I captured from the game Marathon looked like shit. So I captured new footage after tampering with some things in OBS to make it better and more resistant to YouTube crunching it. So I'm pretty proud of it too. I think it came out really good. So, but anyway, yeah, I'm not gonna. You're not gonna see me rushing through Clair Obscur. I wanna. Every time I sit down to play it, I want to be 100% focused on it and not have anything else that's gonna be on my mind. I want to enjoy every single drop of it. So, yeah. So, as of right now, from this second onward, until I say otherwise, I'm going to start talking about the episode. I'm not going to answer any questions until the end of that. But I will read just general comments about the episode. I don't want to do like a bunch of versus questions right now. No offense to Wild Gamer. I don't want to touch that right now. So put a pin in that. We'll come back to it maybe near the end of the show. But let's talk about this. Let's talk about this episode of GQuuuuuux. All right, where to begin? The first thing that comes to mind is this was the fan service episode. And two of the characters that they got fan servicey about are underage. So I was sitting here like, are you fucking kidding me? So I kind of fast forwarded past like the awkward camera angles of the teenage girl because I'm like, why are we doing this? Why? It's just something that it's something about Japan. I don't know why they do it. I'll never understand why they do it. I don't really see the point. I don't see what it adds. But that's just my opinion. Take it or leave it. Don't worry, I'm not calling anybody a pedophile or anything like that. I'm just saying I get weirded out by it. But on the flip side, I have been called a prude in the past. So, I will, I'm not going to rail on it too much more. What I do appreciate, so thank you, Ano, is you at the very least for us older gentlemen, those of us who are hag maxing, one of you at least gave us the grown woman in a swimsuit. That was nice, thank you. But yeah, it was and Shuji got in on it too. There was some fawning over Shuji. It was very much some. Admittedly, here's the thing about it. The Evangelion is slipping in, because a lot of what they're doing is they are playing around with sexual awkwardness in certain scenarios. And the one thing that I always say whenever you do stuff like that, there needs to be something about this that's going to be plot relevant in the future. Aside from just giving us plot, you know. Because I didn't really need a zoom in of Machu's chest. It just it didn't really do anything. But some elements of it, I'm getting the feeling that what they are moving towards is there's going to be some sort of a conflict over Shuji between the two girls. And I'm curious as to how this is going to go. I'm wondering if we're going to see a point where we start seeing more conflict between Machu and Nyan. It'll be interesting to see, because this whole episode was effectively about separating Machu from the rest, and Shuji really is like Char, huh? Yeah. But it was about separating Machu from the rest of the cast to effectively try to let them develop a little bit more, because the show has been focused on her thus far. I'm not going to keep banging on about the fan service. I want to talk about more something around that I've noticed with Machu as a character. So, at the start of the show, Machu struggled with disassociation. She goes into links about it in the very first episode, like nothing feels real to her. And one thing that you'll notice about her is that there's a lot of focus on sensation with her. And ever since the SciComm, and she, entered the Gundam, she has disassociated a little bit less from many things. She's become more emotional as the show has gone on. Whereas it seems like other people that interact with these Gundams and pilot them, if you're activating the SciComm, then you are effectively almost kind of, how do I put it? Almost disassociating more from it, from reality. And that I find very interesting. But again, it's something that, it's just a small detail that I've noticed, but I'm praying leads to something. We will see what happens there. What's another note that I have here? You're going to see me taking my glasses on and off because my head is killing me. With the Black Tristars, we find out that Gaia and Ortega are the two that are in this episode because MASH apparently became a mayor somewhere and got away from war, whereas the other two are just junkers. So they're doing clan battle to try to get enough money to get out of it. And that's basically all of it. I'm going to say this right now. Do you guys have any idea how disappointed I was when the words coming out of their fucking mouth were not in a Texan accent? I was so fucking disappointed. Like, seriously, like, they did not, like, that was something I loved about them. I love the idea that they were country bumpkins, just in a war zone, like, because it's so typical. It really is. For those who don't know, there's a lot of guys that you'll find in the military, according to friends of mine, that are just total country bumpkins. It's just something that happens. So I got really bummed out. I'm like, man, I was looking forward to him talking about Jet Dream Attack. You know, like stuff like that. I ain't no goddamn springboard. Like that stuff was fun. That bummed me out, man. I was like, fuck, really? So, but more than anything, it was just a cameo. They didn't really have any plot relevance. They're just mercs at this point. It does kind of make it interesting that two Zeon aces would be relegated to being junkers after the war. But I think they said something about like Makuve giving them the boot. So, speaking of boot, the Rick Dom now has 3 legs, 2 normal legs and one that comes out of its ass. Which I kind of figured that there was going to be some kind of a booster back there, because they didn't really, like, in the preview footage, they didn't really look like Rick Doms. They kind of reminded me more of the Saikamu Rick Dom, the Schneeweiss that Haman Karn pilots in whatchamacallit, in Char's Deleted Affair. And I'm like, what's going on here? I figured it was just engines, and it just ends up being another leg, which I thought was just kind of kooky. I'm like, oh, well, that's silly. That's whimsical, you know. Wasn't really vibing with it that much, but you know, it really wasn't. I don't know. It didn't. I just didn't get it. I was like, all right, well, it's wacky, it's silly, whatever, you know. The one thing that I noticed about this duel, and I'm noticing about just kind of all this clan battle stuff, is, have you guys noticed that of the 3 now, that, because the big gimmick with this episode is that Neon gets into the Gundam because a Zeon pilot, the dude who was originally the pilot of the GQuuuuuux, managed to keep Machu inside of a subway locker, because she was able to prevent Neon from getting detained by kicking a security guard in the balls. But he caught her and stuffed her into a locker to try to confront her about the GQuuuuuux, which she didn't give him any, like, direct information, but he could tell by her body language, like, yeah, this is the person who's been piloting it. So Neon piloted the GQuuuuuux, and on top of that, she actually managed to activate the SciComm. Or rather, it's the Haro that activated it for her. One or the other. And with that happening, we got her seeing the Kira Kira, as they say. They're seeing time, basically. And when the SciComm activates, the 2 pilots they just murk Mash and Ortega. I mean, sorry, Gaia and Ortega. They just fucking murk them. Just kill them. And it's like, what the fuck? Which, that's the weird thing. Like, that's 3 ace pilots down, but between these fucking Gundams. Like, what the hell? And the weird thing about it is that you're starting to notice that the other 2 outside of Machu are getting very comfortable with killing. Whereas Machu is just kind of like, what the hell is going on here? And but yeah, it seems that Neon is a new type. And yeah, they killed the Tristars without hesitation. Just fucking take them both out. There's a point where Neon, like, actually specifically aims for the cockpit. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, what is going on here? Like, these teenagers are... It's a little different than, like... like Amuro, like this is like clan battle's not supposed to be lethal from what I understand, you know, but they're making it very lethal, and it's like, what the hell are you doing? So where it's like comparing it to someone like Amuro who didn't really like killing people, you know, he just didn't have a choice. I have to say, sorry about the yawning. This headache is killing me. All right, let me read off my notes on what my feelings were in just a second. I feel like this episode was full of fluff. There was a lot of fluff in this, and I'm not just talking about titties. I'm just talking about like a lot of discussion and insinuation without much actual like consequence. And the one thing that I'm noticing about this show, and I kind of like this was my criticism of Witch from Mercury, is like we get to a point where you can only have so much fluff till you get to a point where something really plot relevant has to happen, and it needs to kick off something even bigger. For example, and now here's the thing, a lot of Gundam shows have done this. They will have a couple of big episodes, then they will have a few more down-paced episodes, and then by about episode 5, 6, or 7, that's when the big, hopefully that snap came through, the big stuff happens. Like, I think it's like around episode 7 of the original of Gundam Wing, that's when Treize manipulates Hito into killing the pacifists. You know, around that time is the descent to Earth in the original Gundam. Around that time in Zeta, like by episode 3, you know, they kill off Camille's mom and dad. So like, there's a point where there's a kickoff of escalation, and the one criticism that I had of G-Witch is that it got to a point where it seemed like we were going to kick it off, and then they kicked it off, and then they pulled back until the end of the season, where they kicked it off again and then pulled back again. It was just a constant yo-yo effect with that show, and that's why nothing really led to anything, and by the end of it, nothing mattered. In this particular case, I kind of feel like they're building pressure to the kickoff, and it is working. Like it's there. I feel it as a viewer, which is, it's a good feeling to have. But at the same time, you know, like we're at a point where we need to start to kick off whatever the fuck is going on here, whatever the overarching plot is, because we've got an idea of who everyone is at this point. Like this was the episode that gave us more Neon, effectively. Not necessarily through a ton of dialogue, but more through her actions. We effectively saw that when pushed against a wall, she starts new typing and she kills people. Which, let's be honest about something. New types in Gundam are largely killers. It's hard to find a new type that didn't have a body count. Like, there's very few. Beltorchika Irma is like someone, I don't think she kills anybody in the entirety of the Universal Century. She's a new type. And there's probably others I'm forgetting. But the overall thing about it is that I really want this to start to really build towards something now. Like, I'm ready for that. I don't know about if you guys are feeling the same thing. I feel that way, and it seems like we're getting it. But we'll address that in a second. I mentioned the three-legged Rickdom was goofy and felt very weird. I kind of feel like weird is like the name of the game with mobile suit design in this show. The most normal one we've seen yet were the Gelgoogs, the gyms, you know. And yeah, I mentioned the detail where it seems like in interacting with the Psycom, Machu has become more alive. In interacting with it for the other two, they have become more distant, more disassociated outside of it, and I find that really interesting. I'm curious as to see where that goes. Part of me wonders if there will be conflict between Machu and the other two. That would be interesting. Next episode, though. Actual plot. It's going to be the kickoff episode. It is flat out called The Plot to Assassinate Caecilia. And I'm like, okay. Cool. Let's fucking go. I want to see what happens. Because if we're doing Zeon Civil War, let's fucking go. Like, let's fucking go, you know? I want to see full-on Zeon Civil War. I want to see Zeke on Zeke violence. I'll sit here with popcorn and another Pepsi wearing a shirt that says, I say Zeke with a hard R. Oh, man. I thought about making shirts that say that. I genuinely did, but I'm like, you know what? No one would buy them because no one would wear them. You know, and I can't blame you. Like, it's kind of an edgy joke. So yeah. So, when it comes right down to it, like, it wasn't a bad episode, but I wasn't, like, over the moon about it. Again, because, like, a lot of it was, was like, very, fan servicey. Which, as you guys know, is just kind of not my jam. I'm turning on my fan. I apologize. It's kind of warm in here. Though part of that warmness is just coming from my fucking head. But yeah, space Nazis killing each other. Let's fucking go. So yeah. Yeah, Zeon Civil War. Let them fight. Exactly. Fuck. Sorry. My fucking head is just killing me. God. Oh. Neck pop. That was needed. Oh, man. You know, looking at myself, I look kind of dehydrated. I think I'm going to need to just pound a bunch of water. Look how blue my eyes are, though. People don't believe me when I tell them that I have very blue eyes. And it's like, I do, I promise. But, like, the lighting in here is making it look like I just came from Dune. Like, spice must flow. Like, seriously, look at this. Fuck Paul Atreides, I'm the Quetzal's Haderach. Micah Muad'Dib, or whatever it is. Oh, man. If I could smash Haman Karn, would I? Dude. Haman Karn is a short-haired woman with a big ass. That is literally my type. Like, yeah. That's an understatement. Like, that's one of those things, like, I've dated several women that are like that. It is a good way to get my attention. Not that women these days really go out of their way to get my attention. I'm old and fat now, so I used to be good looking, but those days have kind of passed me by. a lot of that because of my own neglect. Admittedly, I have not been feeling very well as of late, mentally speaking. I will admit to you guys, I've been in a kind of a funk over the last like 6 months, which is really weird because I've had like really good success on YouTube. You know, like I've been doing pretty good, and you know, like I feel like the Warhammer video that we just did was really good. And I think that the marathon one's really good too. And like with my writing, I start hitting the keyboard and flames come out. Like I'm on fire. I'm feeling really good about it. Everything else, not so much. Everything else, I'm kind of... I'm admittedly feeling a little bit of disassociation myself. I think that's part of... In a weird way, though. In a weird way, this mental state is kind of the perfect one that I needed to be in to watch a show like this. To kind of understand, to some degree, what the character might be feeling. You know? So I think that's kind of cool. But then again, Hideaki Anno, like, he suffers from depression himself. So he, like, it comes through in his writing. Apparently, a lot of people have recommended that I see Shin Godzilla. Which, I've been on a little bit of a Godzilla kick lately. So, we'll have to do that. And just so you guys know, next videos we're doing. So, we got the marathon video coming up. Then after that, we're doing, whatchamacallit. We're doing the video about every YouTube video essay ever. And then once that's done, we're going to do Godzilla Singular Point. And then after that will be the next Zeta installment. And then, honestly, after we finish Zeta, I might take a bit of a break from deep dive stuff. I might do some shorter lore videos instead. Thank you, Harry. I appreciate it. Oh, man. Find it interesting when Nyan activated the GQuuuuuux, its eyes were purple, and she said she felt freedom. That was interesting. I am genuinely curious where it's all gonna go. You know. Yeah, I'm with Harry. Like, I really hope Ramba made it out okay. I don't really necessarily want to see Ramba show up at this point because he's my favorite Xeon pilot. Somebody brought up in the comments of one of the videos recently is like he's based on Rommel, the Nazi general. I'm like, yeah, he is. Because Rommel was not really a fan of Hitler. He was just German. He wasn't really the biggest fan of it. He wanted Hitler dead at one point. If I remember right, didn't Rommel try to kill him? I might be remembering that wrong. It's been a while since I've read up on my World War II history. Given my ethnic background, as you can probably imagine, it's kind of a sore spot. So. But yeah. Goes without saying, though, like, I am excited to see where the show is going to go. I just didn't think that this was one of the stronger episodes. Love to see a confirmed non-new type attempt to activate the Omega Psycom, but with Haro as well. Haro being able to tell that the Psycom was activating has bugged you. Yeah, I'm kind of in a similar boat. Also, we have 50 people watching right now. Thank you all. Seriously, I don't normally get this many viewers. So this is This is pretty neat, to say the least. I'm always happy to see that. Want to keep things growing, you know? Rommel was one of the backers of Operation Valkyrie. Ah, okay, fair enough. Thank you. But anyway, when it comes right down to it, I am just, man, this headache is making it very difficult to think. Give me just a second. My head is kind of going all over the place. Yeah. I might not have slept very well. That might have been the problem. But regardless, I have hopes. I have pretty high hopes for where this is gonna go, and hopefully it's cool. But what I was gonna say is I am genuinely wondering if this is not really a Psychomu situation, if it's a Psycho Frame situation. Because for those who don't remember, Psycho Frame can have an effect on non-new types as well. Like, if you guys remember Chan from Char's Counterattack, she started new typing with the Psycho Frame being around her, and she's not a new type. Like, I think Tamino flat out said she's not. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I'm genuinely wondering if the GQuuuuuux is a Psycho Frame mobile suit. I'm genuinely curious. Because the distinct possibility that maybe she's not a new type, but it brought something out of her because of proximity to Psycho Frame. I don't know. Why use the frames if it drives the user nuts? Well, it's a military weapon, and admittedly, in the military, the one thing that the question is, does it kill? That's the flowchart. Does it kill? Yes or no? It's really all they care about. It is the unfortunate nature of war. Could there be an exam system scenario in the future? Maybe. We'll see how far the show goes. Episode sounds like they had realized they hadn't done shit with Nyan and had to fix that. Yeah, I had a feeling that was kind of like the vibe. It's like, look, we got this other character, but she's kind of the sidekick right now. Let's kind of bring her up to the forefront for an episode, see what we can do with her. And it worked, you know. And now I'm interested in her. Like, she feels like less of a background character and now more plot relevant. Yeah, is it the pilot, the MS, or the Haro that is the key here? Yeah, Ebingen, that's what I'm curious about. That's my question. You know, is what is it? But it's a good question that the writer that Anno has set up, and it I'm intrigued by it. It's gonna get me watching more episodes. Like I'm at a point where I'm very much not just watching this to sit down and get super chats. And do like a weekly show about it for views or just because I discuss Gundam. Now I'm doing this because I really like it, and now my passion's coming out of it. You're not hearing much of it because I got a fucking headache, but yeah, I'm really digging it. Thank you for the $9.99, Ronan. He says, Rick Dom is a three-legged. Is the goof gonna have 6 arms? Also, I pray Ramba Ral is a special force commander, taking names, kicking butt. If he is around, I hope that they keep him around and they don't kill him off again. Because Ramba Ral is the best. If he's not a special forces guy, I pray that he's just somewhere with Haman, enjoying life and having a bunch of kids. You know? I think it's safe to say, like, outside of Char, like, Ramba Ral is probably one of the most beloved Xeon pilots, because he was the one that felt like he had at least a sense of honor. He was still a soldier, mind you, but, you know, he had honor to him. He followed orders. He did what he did for the sake of his men, not for the sake necessarily of the nation. He cared about the people around him. He didn't, even in a situation where he could have killed Amuro with no consequence and changed the face of the war, he did not. Not because because it was the right thing to do, both strategically and morally. Cunning and kind. That's how I would describe Ramba Ral. So yeah. Knowing Anno, I expect the series to have some psychological horror elements later on. That would be cool. Something that Gundam has not touched on before. Gundam horror would be really intriguing if you could pull it off. You know? Like, that would be really intriguing. Don't forget Bernard Wiseman. God, I'm dreading the Xeon Civil War as much as I want to see it. That's the funny part. Oddly enough, there was recently an interview with Anno where he said his favorite one of his favorite Gundam shows was 0080 War in the Pocket. So it makes me wonder. Makes me wonder what he's gonna do. Have I ever heard of Heretical Hatter? I have not, no. I admittedly don't watch a ton of YouTube, you know? And the YouTube that I watch is like stuff that I don't, admittedly things I don't know. Like, I watch a lot of cooking stuff because I like to cook, but I'm learning more about it every day. I watch Warhammer stuff because I enjoy playing Warhammer. And I enjoy the universe, but there's a lot to learn about it. But like with Gundam and Gunpla, I don't really watch like other Gundam YouTubers. Nothing against any of them. It's just I already know quite a bit about Gundam, and I want to make my own opinions about it and put them out there, you know, so I don't want anybody else's to taint my opinion. So, and like with Gunpla, obviously I'm good with it, you know. For those who missed it, I haven't done any more work on it since the stream, but here, let me turn on the light. Why is it not focusing? Anyway, Master Grade Rick Diaz. Looking very slick. Has Haman Karn ever had sex? Not to my knowledge. I think that if she ever did, it was probably something where it was probably like a one-night stand. After everything with Char, she doesn't strike me as the type that would go into a relationship unless it was like some sort of like political benefit to her. That's kind of why she strings Mashmir along. She knows that as long as he stays hyped up about pleasing her, he'll be useful as a soldier. Yeah, not even an office lady. Though in Office Lady, they do actually confirm in that universe her and Char did date at one point. Or at least they say it in like the first issue. To be honest, Haman was saving herself for Char. Yeah. And then when she met Judo, she saw a lot of Char in Judo. Which, admittedly, like, I kind of feel like Tamino, when he wrote Judo, he meant for Judo to be, in a sense, Char's successor. Or Char if he never faced tragedy like Char did. And he would have come out a different person, you know. Need to read Office Lady after your video about it. It's great. You can find fan translations easily online. Like, it's very good. I've never really read like a lot of like slice of life. It's not my thing. But it is a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun to read. Char without the mommy issues? Yeah, pretty much that. Which, funnily enough, like, they never really explain why Char had mommy issues. Like, it's just something he has. I wonder if his mother died. Like, I don't remember if his mother died when she was young or what happened there, but gotta be the funniest thing. Imagine being told by people you remind them of Char. Yeah, I wouldn't take it as a compliment, personally. I like Char as a character, but Jesus. Now, personally, I've been told that I remind people of Judo, which that I thought was kind of cool. I'm like, that's awesome, thank you. Who wins, Char or Mikazuki August? Char. I like Mikazuki, but Char would beat him. Especially, funnily enough, if you gave Char his Zaku, I feel like that's he would probably dog walk Mikazuki. Because Mika's a good pilot, but he relies a lot on his machine and the link with the machine, whereas Char does not. Char is just very skilled. So, nothing against Micah, but he'd lose in that scenario. I could only imagine, like, Micah trying to fight Char if he was in the Sazabi. That would just not be fair. That's a bad day. That's a really fucking bad day, man. My good God, you would get fucking wrecked. Didn't Micah wipe out a whole ass company with a barely working Barbatos? I don't remember him taking out a whole company. He did kill a lot of people in the very end after getting hit with the Dan's Leaf. But at the same time, the thing about Gallarhorn that we learn about them is that outside of the guy who piloted the Vidar, there wasn't a lot of skilled pilots. Like, it was a lot of just rich kids. Like, what I would compare Gallarhorn to is the Holy Iron Chain Knights from Berserk. Similar idea. It's a bunch of rich kids. If I recall, IBO has no existence of beam weapons. No, there are beam weapons in IBO. They just don't use them. So the gimmick with IBO... I'm going to turn my fan off. The gimmick with IBO is that... and thank you for the $2 servant. What I missed late to stream is show still good. Show is still very good. Quick recap. New episode, very fan servicey. Teenagers in their underwear sort of thing. You know, at the very least though, Ankh, she also is in a bathing suit, so that was nice because she's of age. Turns out the black-haired girl is also a new type. Neon, she gets in the Gundam. Shit happens. It's kind of a fast-moving episode. Anyway, so on IBO. IBO mobile suits are coated with something called nanolaminate armor. Nanolaminate armor was something that they developed because during the Calamity War they were fighting mobile armors. Mobile armors used not only beam weaponry but very powerful beam weaponry. So the nanolaminate armor was an anti-beam coating. The problem is that it became standardized. So the weaponry had to change. Beam weaponry was less effective, so they used physical weapons instead. And now that we're at that point in IBO, because like when we see the mobile armor uncork a beam rifle or a beam weapon in IBO, in IBO season 2, it's a big deal when it happens. And even then, it's like it wasn't even that powerful by Gundam standards in regards to beam weaponry, and it was melting the armor off of the Barbatos. So, nanolaminate is... I would equate it to the Hyakushiki's anti-beam coating. It's very similar. It's not as strong as the anti-beam coating on a Gundanium mobile suit, though. Like, stuff from Wing, nowhere near it. You have to keep in mind, like, the Death Scythe, when it was really badly busted, tanked a shot from a massive beam rifle, and it wasn't completely destroyed. They rebuilt it pretty easily. Columbia, thank you for renewing your membership. Says, love that the only identify feature they could think of not being Machu is that she doesn't look a bit skinny. She look a bit skinnier, implying Machuni's somehow more fuller than Yan when they're both freaking Twix. Yeah. Not a whole lot going on there. Oh, gosh. Sword and Shield arms race, pretty much. But yeah, it's one of those things where the nanolaminate is not super special in my opinion. It's just one of those things where it's just a circumstance of the war. Like it was either this or we all die, and they did it, and now it just becomes standard. Because there wasn't really like a the reason that anti-beam coating is not seen as much in the Universal Century is largely because it wasn't really cost effective. Whereas apparently nanolaminate armor in IBO's universe is very much cost effective. So didn't Wing take a station laser in most of the suit and the pilot survived? Yeah, it's the whatchamacallit. Wing Gundam got hit with a full power shot from the space station at the end of Wing. Its name is escaping me because, again, a headache. So, yeah, the Gundanium is incredibly durable. What is a better stocked standard mobile suit, a Shiden or a Jagen? I would put my money on the Jagen. What the Jagen basically is that, yeah, the Libra cannon. Thank you. It almost like the chest tanked it, but yeah, the Jagen. The thing about the Jagen, let me grab mine, is that this thing is basically, for better or worse, a mass production version of the Mark II. It's a little bit more lightly armored around the hips, but it also has much higher thrust capacity, as you can see here. These things are fast. That's the big difference. There's a reason that a competent pilot in a Jagen, a Stark Jagen specifically, was able to hold his own and pressure Mari to cruise in the opening of Unicorn. It's because the Jagen is a very good mobile suit. It's just it has the designation of being the grunt suit, but it's actually really good. Funnily enough, isn't the Barzan the mass-produced Mark II? Not really. It doesn't have a lot of the features that the Mark II does. Sorry. But yeah, the Jagen like is a very good suit. Funnily enough, in the original Unicorn novel, the follow-up story Phoenix Hunting, the lead character Jonah Basta does not pilot the narrative Gundam. The narrative Gundam is not a thing. The narrative Gundam is strictly for the movie. In the book, he piloted a Stark Jagen. Jagen's got a surprising amount of ballistics. Give that sucker to a bazooka, it'll probably go toe-to-toe with an IBO suit. That's the tricky part. Like, in space, effectively, it would have the advantage considerably. Because of the thrust capacity. It's so fucking fast. Because you gotta keep in mind, like, the Federation mobile suit development, after the 1 Year War, there's a focus on speed. Like, you'll know one thing you'll consistently see with a lot of their suits is they're fast. Ugh. Give me a second. Sorry, my head is really killing me. I think I'm going to need to call it here, guys. I'm really not feeling very well. I'm going to go lay down and put an ice pack on my head to cool down. So I'm sorry. I see a bunch of questions coming in. I'm sorry I'm not going to be able to answer them. But I do need to go and rest. Appreciate everybody coming by. I appreciate also people being very liberal with Super Chats today. I mean, making $20 in an hour is better than most jobs. So, I appreciate you guys very much for being here, for being fans, for being awesome. If you want to become members as well, that's always suggested because, like, every video from now on, you're going to be getting, like, substantial, like, a good chunk of time on exclusivity. Plus, I'm still considering start setting a member goal, and if we get to it, we're gonna do another podcast on top of On the Grind, purely based around lore. Think Tex Talks BattleTech, something like that. So the more members we get, the closer we come to that goal. The closer we come to that goal, even though I haven't set the goal yet, it is something Shirt Dude and I have talked about doing. So, all right, I'm gonna get some rest. I appreciate all of you very much for being here. Thank you. I will see you guys next week for we can talk about whether or not Caecilia is dead. Have a good one.